Welcome to another episode of the Sipping and Tripping podcast, where we connect with amazing people. Today's conversation is all about fatherhood, marriage, and world travels. I am your host, Desmond Black, and the person that's sipping and tripping with me today is someone who is more than a health coach. He's a transformative catalyst who comprehends the intricate balance between professional achievement, personal well being, and family responsibility. He is an expert in health, fitness, nutrition, and healthy lifestyles. He is none other than Mr. Brian Parana. How are
Yes,
you doing, and how is your week so far?
thanks for having me, Desmond. So good. Thrilled to announce that I actually launched my own podcast. It's been on that ongoing list of things to do as an entrepreneur. It's just you're writing a book too, right? It's just this
Right,
constant list of demands, and then you have a bunch of kids, and
right.
it all gets lost. I finally had a free day. I said, "Hey, I'm going to start this thing." I've been taking notes on it and ideas and all this, and Driven for Health. So I launched that this week. Super proud. I actually just recorded my second episode just before we got on. So I am hot, ready, in podcast mode.
Okay. So speaking about your podcast, what is it about, and where can we find it?
Yeah, definitely. You're going to find it on all the major things, right? Apple, Spotify, and beyond, Amazon, iHeart, YouTube, and beyond, whatever. But it's about men's health.
Okay.
As men age, and also I always tell the ladies, if you just put WO in front of MEN,
Yeah.
it's the same content. I mean, like,
Right, right,
can you take care of yourself? Can you drink your water, get sleep? All these basics that we need to do as human beings. But
right,
it's generally for men about 40s, 50s that are juggling a lot of work and life responsibilities. They want to show up for their family, they want to have energy, they want to be successful in a lot of areas of life, and their health is the thing that is being sacrificed to get there, which was going to end up not working well for them in another 5, 10, 20 years when they get diagnosed with a disease or have an early death or just miss out on so much life opportunity with their family, their kids, and adventures and things because they just can't move or they're tired or the list
right,
goes on.
right. Okay. And what's the name of the podcast?
Driven for Health.
Driven for Health. Okay. Just write that down.
It blends that drive, it blends that leadership, it blends that purpose, but then the health aspect of it. I thought long and hard on the name.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So I heard when you said that you did a lot of research on the whole podcast thing. So did I. Like I'm an overthinker. So, when I had in my mind that I wanted to do it, I was like, well, I don't know much about it, right? Like
Yeah.
I've watched podcast episodes from other people
Oh.
here and there, but not
Mhm.
consistently. So I I'm all about research and knowledge. So I
Yeah.
went straight to Google and I always do multiple sources. And I was like,
Oh, of
I
course.
Google how to have a successful
Yep.
podcast.
Yep.
What things do I need to prepare and things of that nature? And I
Right.
just took my own notes. And then when I was done with that, I went to a different source, took notes on
Right.
that. And then I was
Yep.
like, okay. So one of the
I
things
see the patterns of behavior, right?
yeah, exactly. And then one of the things I've noticed, it's like you want to be consistent with your intro. Your intro should always be the
Yes.
same. Your audience should know what to expect when they push
Right.
play. So it's just certain things like that. So I was like,
Right.
okay. So I had to own my craft, and I came up. Believe it or not, for my intro, I spent like maybe like 3 to 4 hours trying to figure that out. I was writing
Okay.
stuff down. Then I'm like,
Yeah.
I think I can add more. And then I was like, is it enough? Is it too much? So
Right.
then
It's more,
I went
less
over
is
it.
more sometimes
Right.
in this situation, right?
And I went over it with a couple of people, and they was like, "No, it's good. That's solid. Where you get that from?" I was like, "Oh, I came up with
Yo,
that." They was like,
chef.
"Oh, don't change it." That's my older brother, by the way.
All
He also has a
right.
podcast. He's faith based. I'm not sure if you are or not, but
Yeah,
yeah, he.
definitely. Silly enough, I had hair down to my shoulders in college, and I got baptized in a speedo at,
Oh,
at
oh
the
my God.
at the college. It was called Campus Focus, and yeah. So good times.
Um, what's up, Steph? I just want to get that out the way before sometimes I fall to the wayside. You see comments come in and you forget to
Yeah.
shout people out. But all right. So on this platform, I like to conversate, educate, and entertain.
Yeah,
And
wonderful.
as always, I like to open up with a few preliminary questions to get to know you a little bit. So,
Yeah,
without
definitely.
further ado, where were you born and where did you grow up?
It's just a guy named LeBron James. You might know him or know of him, right? I'm in his hometown,
Right.
Akron, Ohio.
Oh, okay.
Goodyear Tire Company. That's not as fun as LeBron James. I wish we were buddies, but we're not. My
Yeah,
life might be different if that were the case, right? But
yeah, because you had the money, then you can.
it's not even
Hey,
the money; it's the influence and the
the
all
influence,
the
yes.
other things that go along with that. So yeah, sure, the money's good, but the influence and the surrounded by the people, right? The people who you
Right.
surround yourself influence how your life goes. And
Oh
so,
God, you got him started.
but
He's a big LeBron fan. I can't stand it. So he put King. Uh,
King James,
uh,
yep.
he's also delusional because I don't understand how anybody can grow up in the Michael Jordan era and then say
uh,
that LeBron is
right.
better when it's like night and day.
It's
You can't compare them. One,
no, you
it's
can't compare.
two different positions. First of all, right? And
Right,
we don't
right.
compare a running back to a quarterback. We just don't do
Right,
it. And
right.
it's like LeBron does not have the accolades that Jordan has, but people
Yeah,
they
Jordan's
disregard that, and
stacked.
I don't understand. So
Yep,
I'm not even gonna get into that because that'd be a whole nother episode, and we can go on for days. And it's crazy I said
yeah.
that because for a year now I've been saying I need an episode just talk about who's the real goat, and I think that'll be
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm
But
from his hometown, but certainly I support him, but I love Michael Jordan as well. But yeah, I'm not probably not that person. So who compares Michael Jordan to LeBron? A lot of people do. It's all
yeah, a lot
over
of people
ESPN.
better. Hey, Chef, when you better, what's better? Oh my God, we're not talking about LeBron.
Yeah, we gotta move on. They're both great
um,
basketball players in their own respective time frames. There we go.
yeah, there we go.
They're both goats in
Uh,
their own world.
so okay, so we'll talk a little bit later about like different cities and states and things of that nature. But
Yep.
what can you tell me about Ohio? Like, what is there to do out
Ohio.
there?
As my wife would put it, medium. It's medium
Media,
temperature, it's medium cost of living, there's medium exciting things to do in a sense. And that's
right?
okay. We like it as a home base in a sense. And for our kids, it gives them a lot of opportunity. Temperatures are generally 30 to 80. So it doesn't get too cold or too hot, but it's a little more humid and the wet rather than the dry. But it's nice. I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt. I've been doing so since April.
Right, right,
So,
right.
Northeast Ohio has a little more things happening. Cleveland area is close. It's 90 minutes to get to Columbus. So you can do a
Okay.
lot of really fun things in the area. There's a lot of good food spots. We've got our
Mm,
own breweries and all that stuff. And we have a beautiful national park, Cuyahoga Valley National
right.
Park is here. I've spent you know, weeks of my life running and biking in that place as well.
Okay. Okay. I almost said something, but I'm like I said, I see that for when we talk about
Yeah.
world travels. But
Yep.
okay. Do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I have a younger brother. Jeff is
A
his
younger
name.
brother?
Yep. Three
Okay.
years
Yep.
younger.
Yep. Y'all close?
Not as much as we should be,
Got
unfortunately,
it. Okay.
for all sorts of different reasons and such. But just time and distance as and life. When he got married, is I already had three different businesses. I had my fourth kid. Yeah, I've just done a lot of different things than he was living a single bachelor lifestyle. So it's just different lifestyles.
Got you.
So
Okay. I got you. Yeah, that's the thing about life, man. Sometimes it's a lot of people in our lives that we wish we had more time with.
sure.
But it's just hard,
Yep.
when you try to juggle
Right.
your personal goals and your ambitions and
Eh,
trying to fulfill your
Yep.
aspirations,
Even
and
that.
then yeah, and then you got like a family, and then like you
Yep.
got friends and people that
Right.
want your time, and then when you don't, it becomes a problem. So it's hard, and then you get
Yeah.
frustrated, and nobody want to be frustrated. It's just not healthy.
No. 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 We had divorced parents, and that was probably part of some of the separation. There just wasn't this family bond or drive to stay connected. Whereas in my family, I will be texting my kids every single day for the rest of my life and calling them randomly just to annoy them in a sense, to make sure that they are connected to me, they're connected to their mother, they're connected to their siblings, because we just want to just promote that our nuclear family are the people that have each other's backs, regardless of how you do or don't feel about someone when you're 16 and 12. My first and third, they're like oil and water. Even though they're the same person, there's
Right.
friction there. And so same personality, same characteristic behaviors and all this stuff. But there's friction probably because of that. So we always have to keep gluing them back together in a sense.
Right. Yeah. And I'm big on try to keep households together, right, as much as
Yeah,
possible.
definitely.
Because a lot of people don't realize the detriment and the harm that comes from broken homes. At least a
Huge.
whole bunch of stuff. Like,
Yeah,
somebody might feel neglected or unloved or unwanted, or they
yeah,
might, have those separation anxieties, or feel like they have
yeah.
abandonment issues because,
Right.
or they might hold themselves to blame and say, like, did
Yeah,
they get divorced because of me? Was I part
right.
of that problem? And so it plays a lot on our psyche. So that's
Yeah.
why I tell people all the time, when you talk about having kids, try to make sure try to make sure that it's the right fit for you, it's the right person
Yes.
to be with. And not just lustfully say I want to have kids. You got to
No.
make sure
Yeah,
you're
they're a
like
lot of
ball and
work.
glove.
Yeah,
Yep. And then
4
yeah,
kids is
yeah.
expensive.
Oh, that is, especially if you single parent. If you're not a single parent, that makes life a little bit easier.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The dual
So,
income household helps, but yeah,
uh,
regardless.
what do you do for a living?
I am easiest way to phrase is a health coach. You can even put slash life coach. I talk a lot to people about a lot of different things, but the how people enter my orbit is through health, through losing weight, better digestion, managing chronic illness, performance games. I've worked with a CrossFit world champion, Betsy Finley. We went to CrossFit games 3 times in a row, got first, second, eighth at the age of 60. I worked with
Mm,
Sophia Renioso. She's a 2-time Olympian. We worked together in Tokyo and in
mm,
Paris, remotely. I
nice.
would have loved to have hung out with her there, but
Oh,
can I
I
have
thought you
can I
meant
have a
like
pass? Yeah, no. Can I have a pass in there, and I can just put a coach jacket and just hang out with you at the
right,
Olympics? Some, but no. So those are, say, high performers, and then weekend warriors. I work with a lot of people, and we talk about a lot of different things, because if any one thing gets in someone's way about
right,
improving their health, it becomes my business in a sense. And so, an
yes,
easy example is, say, Desmond, our goal is to, for simplicity, lose 20 pounds.
right,
You're all of a sudden, your book writing, your podcast, your even your kids, as much as we love them, they become obstacles in the way of you bettering your health, and those
right,
are real life. We have to discuss how all those moving parts and pieces fit into your life, and still be able to come out on the other end of bettering your health and losing the weight and keeping it off in a sustainable way. And my job is to come in and just incrementally march you through that process, managing all those other areas and stress and time and effort and energy and skill sets and all these things that people just don't even think about. They just, I want to lose weight, so I'm just going to not eat carbs for a month.
right, right,
Yeah, you can totally do that. That's just one way to do it. But if you like eating carbs, and every human being I've ever worked with likes carbs, you need to have a better relationship with carbohydrates, and we need to talk about that, and we have to understand when and where and how they come into your everyday, to then be able to manage them better, so that you don't fall into a bag of chips or a tub of ice cream just
right, right,
because your third child created some friction in the household. I did this. There are 15, was it 15 different relationships in your household. If you have 6 people in your house, there's 15 different
right,
relationships going on, and they're all not all going the same direction any one time,
right,
right?
right, right.
So there's an
Yeah.
example.
So that's your only source of income right now, or is there something
Yeah,
else you
this
do
is
with that?
the only thing I do and have done for my whole career. So I have
Okay.
thousands of conversations and experience and text. Oh my gosh, the amount of text messages I've answered in the last 20 years. Holy moly.
I can imagine. I can imagine. And things like that, it gets overwhelming sometimes. But it's like it's something we
100%.
like doing, so we
Right.
continue to do it.
Exactly.
So
It's a
it's
passion.
crazy.
This question will come up, but why do I do all that? Why am I answering all these texts? Why am I talking to people? Am I engaging into their personal life to help them? Because of
Right.
the rewards and
Right.
them and self-improvement. I've seen so many people do so many big things. In fact, Terry is a lady I'm working with right now. She is driving right now to South Carolina from New York. And
Mm,
she came to me at the beginning of the year, 300 pounds, just sad and not feeling good. We actually worked together back in 2017 or something. And we
right.
had success then. And then life happened and COVID and all these things. But she came back at the beginning of the year. I need your help. And we've lost about 40 to 50 pounds this year and managing all the things. And because of that, reason, she has confidence, she has energy, she has a wherewithal to be able to go and do this big thing, move
Right.
multiple states, change jobs, uh, sell, buy a house, relocate, which is a huge ask for any human being, especially when she's in her mid 50s.
Right.
Right? She'd been
Yeah.
working at this company for 15 years. Now she's going to go work
Right.
somewhere else. That's a big ask for a lot of people if they are of the mindset of, okay, I'm just going to work at this place until I retire. That's a big shift.
Right.
For me, I don't even know what that means because I've just been self-employed for 15 years. So,
Right.
but
Right.
that's huge. That's a big why.
And doesn't that make you feel good as a person to be able to help somebody
Yes.
else? And that's
Yes.
what I be trying to tell people. Like just knowing that you're doing something for somebody else or putting a smile
Yeah.
on somebody else's face, that's fulfilling for me. I can't speak for
Yes.
anybody else, but that's fulfilling for me. So I
Yeah, I
always
agree.
at a young age, I always said I wanted to give back to other people or to the community.
Yeah.
So I try to do things like that. So any opportunity I get like that, I'm all for it.
Right.
Um,
100%.
so we mentioned kids, right? How many kids do you have?
I have 4 kids, 3 boys and girls, 16 to 10 by 2 years, 16, 14, 12, 10.
So I too have 4 kids, same
Yeah,
same as you. I have 3 boys and 1 girl.
that's wonderful.
11, 5, 2, and 1. Now
Oh,
I say one. A
wow.
lot of people, a lot of
Yeah.
people like to go by months. Like, oh, I'm a year
Oh,
and a
yeah, yeah.
half. But not me. If you didn't turn
When
2,
you
you
when you have
still
4
1.
kids.
Right. So I mean, so birthdays are coming up, but it's not here yet. So 1, 2, 5, and 11.
Yeah.
So kids are great. My 11-year-old, he's doing Pop Warner football, and it's crazy. Not to expedite time or speed up time,
Yeah.
but
I'm
Sundays
excited.
excited because he has his games every Sunday, and it's also football Sunday. So
Yeah.
the
Oh,
game could just end, and I can't wait for the next Sunday. That's how it's been. So right
nice.
now,
That's
the
awesome.
team they're 2-2.
Okay.
We have a big game this week against a town called Plainfield.
Okay.
Yeah, Plainfield. So that'll be exciting. I record the game, so that's always good. I always come home, put it on the big screen TV, and rewatch the
Ah, you
game.
do tape. That's awesome.
Yeah, because when I'm recording, I can't really enjoy the game because I gotta make sure that I'm following and I'm paying in. But when I put it on the big screen, then I get to see all the highlights. And then whenever I see my
Oh,
son do
man.
something, I'm like, "That's my boy, man!" Like
Yeah.
and he be making a lot of money off of us because I tell him like for each tackle is like $10 and stuff like that. So I reward him for
Oh,
it's
yeah,
to give
yeah,
him
yeah.
incentive to do
Yep,
good. And
yep.
this is third year doing it.
That's awesome.
First 2 years it was a thing called AYF, it was American Youth Football, but this
Okay.
year he's in Pop Warner. It's similar. The only thing I like better about Pop Warner, I ain't gonna say the only thing, but so AYF is a little bit different as far as playoffs. Uh, like the best teams, that's how you go to playoffs. Well, in Pop Warner, every team go to playoffs. You lose, you out. You win, you advance. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. So it's 8 games in regular season. Then we have or next month we have a game in Giant Stadium that allows us
Oh,
to go there. Yeah, so
okay.
a professional NFL stadium. Um, yeah, and it's just to watch them play. Now, the only
That's
downside to that
wow.
game is they say I can't record it in that game. The
Right, of
the
course.
the personnel and the staff in Giant Stadium, so that sucks. I mean,
You'll have
I'm gonna see
to
if I can.
sneak your iPhone out at least.
I was
Or
about to say,
something.
let me. I'm gonna try my best to see if they will allow me. They probably gonna say no because that'll be an experience when he get older. Like, look, you played the
Oh
Giant Stadium.
yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
And then like I said, so after the 8 weeks, then the playoffs start, and
Yeah,
then you go to regionals, and then you go to states. So,
yeah,
which is exciting, right? Because it'd be like people from Vegas, right? The best team from Vegas will come over here and play New Jersey or New York, or might play Ohio or things like that. So it's great. I looked at last year, and it was like Vegas and New Jersey, right? And I think Vegas beat us, and then it was like Colorado or something versus New York. So it's a big deal. So I'm excited for that. I got
that's
his
awesome.
jerseys for his first 2 seasons in
Yeah,
the little
that's awesome.
case on
That's
his wall.
awesome.
So this year, this jersey will go up there, and so on and so forth. And then it'll carry over to high school.
Oh yeah,
That's what the focus is, to get him right and ready for high school.
yeah,
But
that's awesome.
all right,
That's awesome.
you said you was married.
Yeah, married my high school sweetheart. We're 19 in.
That's that longevity I'll be talking about, man. Like that's powerful. That's great.
Known that
I'm
woman
happy
since
for
I
you
was
guys.
11. 11 years
11. Oh,
old, man. Yeah,
ah,
we're 42 now.
so how did you pull that off? Because relationships in general is a lot of work, but marriage that's a lot of work. So with
Yeah,
one
yeah, it
person and
is.
deal with the BS every day, that's a lot of work.
Well, we each have our own BS in one way or another, right? No,
Right, right.
right. So, there's just commitment to
Mm,
each other, commitment to our kids, a commitment to our general undertone of who the piranhas are and what we're about. There has to be alignment. Sure, there's friction. I'm not gonna say that we're perfect by any means, or we don't fight or argue or not talk to each other for a day or two. Those are
right,
just that's human behavior, unfortunately. But
right.
always go back to best intentions for her to show I care, show I love her, love my family, and everything's work. If you want to be successful in life, you have to work at it. It doesn't
Mm,
matter. So if you can just swallow that pill, then you'll be fine in life. Because it's always going to change, and you're always going to have to plan and prepare and be ready to act in the situations that come up. And if as long as you understand that's what life is, then you can have a successful life, and that can be deemed a number of different ways.
right.
From the easiest way is financial success, right? That's the first one everyone thinks of, but there's a lot of millionaires that are sad and
That's
not
true.
really living happy lives,
Right,
but there's poorest people ever, and they're living the best happiest life ever because of, say, community
right,
and connection. So
right.
you got
And
to
a lot of
find that.
people don't. A lot of people don't realize that. This thing is, everybody always talk about rich people got the best life. They don't stress. Listen,
They
at the end of the day, we
stress.
all human.
We
So
all.
they just do a little bit more than we do, but their stress are the same as ours.
Yeah,
Matter of fact, when you rich, your stress is magnified, right?
yeah,
Because
yep,
the same things say, because we all still human. So the things that tick
yep,
us off and bring us
mhm,
down brings them down, but even greater because now they realize that money can't buy happiness,
yeah,
money
yeah,
can't buy love. So what
right.
happens when you got all this money and you don't have nobody to spend it with?
Right, right. Well,
It's a bigger
let's
problem
even
for you.
look at the most recent big headline thing. Jimmy Kimmel got
Right,
canceled and then he got brought back on. That move by, say, Disney or whoever, the big company, and Disney lost billions of dollars because of that one move, because everyone canceled their Disney Plus account or something, right? So
right, right,
like we're all human, going back to that simple statement. And if we do have more money, we have magnified problems because all of a sudden we have this, say like Disney is an empire, right? They're
right,
a true empire in a sense in our modern age, and that was a move that they made, and people don't like it,
right, right.
and they got
Well,
slapped.
are are you religious?
Yeah, sure. As we opened up, I would say more spiritual rather than religious in a sense. And the I guess the reason to phrase that is some of the people I had depended on in various times of my life were religious, but they let me down, and
Gotcha.
they say they hid, just not hid, isn't they stood behind religious actions to justify their behavior. And I've seen
Gotcha.
that time and again. We see it in the big, say, the Catholic Church, right?
Right.
So belief in God, belief in humanity, belief in doing better for our neighbor. Those are heavy on my heart that I would definitely focus on, do, and continue to do in my life.
Right. So now, not to go down a rabbit hole of spirituality versus religion and nothing like that, because that's a run-on sentence in
Yeah,
itself.
we're
But
not doing
but
that.
but one thing I've been saying a lot on my podcast is when I ask that question, 98% of the people say I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. So in saying that,
Yeah.
um, do you think like religion is becoming like a thing of the past, or is something that people are running from?
I guess an easy way to think about it, at least for me, is religion could be mechanical in a sense,
Mm,
like opiate of the masses, a way, just another form of control over people in a sense, if done in the wrong way. And we've seen that dictated on repeat throughout history, where religious centers have come in and it did whatever they did, and so
gotcha.
I would say that.
So, besides what you do for a living, the
Yeah.
life coach and the fitness and things of that nature, what do you do in your spare time?
Spare time, well, I work out, I hang out with a couple friends, family groups. We do a lot of travel. We always try and play games with the kids or do a lot of activities with our kids, family orientated type stuff. My oldest
Okay.
swims. He's going to run the Akron Marathon on
Mm,
Saturday. We got another kid that's running. He's very visual arts performance like theater. That's our second kid. So Levi's oldest, Everett. Then we have Maxwell's crazy smart kid. He's a bookworm. He is uh, very driven toward the things that he likes. Minecraft. He always wants to play Minecraft, and that's just the phase of life that he is in. And then Emmeline, she's my daughter at 10. She is just a bundle of joy. I think daddy's little girl type situation. We read every night. She literally says, read when she's walking through the kitchen. Read, read.
now, reading is good. A lot of people
Oh,
they afraid of reading, but reading is
oh my
fundamental.
gosh. Yep,
It's good. It's
yep.
you. The more you read, the better you're able to communicate with people.
Understand. Yep, yep. You're
Like
able to
you enunciate
understand.
words better,
Yep.
and just it just broaden your vocabulary, and then it allows you to be in a space where you can jump in almost any conversation and hold your own. And that's where
Yes.
I'm at. And that's something that I picked up from my father. I enjoy that, and I have a thirst for knowledge and education and things
Oh
like
yeah.
that. So that's just who I am.
My
Now,
wife, real quick on the reading, my wife embedded it in our patterns of behavior from my youngest son, 3 stories a night. That's what we would read, three or more usually, from small Sandra Boynton, Mo Willems, Dr. Seuss, all sorts of those fun things that not only the kids
three stories
enjoy,
a
but
night though.
yeah, every night, 3 stories a night. Not big ones, like the
Right.
little, the manageable ones, but yeah, 3 stories a night. And then they've evolved. My wife has read the Harry Potter series to them, all sorts of
Mm,
different the Percy Jackson series to them at
wow.
night. She's reading the Cupcake Diaries right now to my younger two. The two older ones are too cool for school now. Then so my daughter gets read to by my wife for 10-15 minutes, and then she walks through the kitchen, says read, and then I go read to her for about 10-15 minutes, and we're reading a K.R. Alexander book called Dark Room. It's just this really it's a fun book that I'm even enjoy reading and everything. And we still read Piggy and Elephant Piggy books from Mo Willems, and but that's been a huge connector for our family. Even the Harry Potter thing, we've actually gone to Orlando, and
Mm,
we all have our own houses, and it's just a family bonding moment. We've been to London where we actually
mm,
toured the facilities, Harry Potter. We all have Harry Potter clothes, things that we watch all the movies. They've gone to Broadway and watched The Cursed Child with my wife. Fun things like that have evolved because of the reading, and that creates that family bonding, which is so important for us. especially with a large
Right.
family.
And that's crazy you said it because when we have kids, we in the hospital or even school or something like that, we always talk about early childhood development, like in schools, right?
Yeah.
And that's important, like reading
Right.
to your kids, because what you're doing is you're conditioning them to read.
Yep.
You condition them to do more than what life has become today, where it's all
Oh yeah.
about social media
Yeah.
and
Staring at a
electronics.
phone is the worst.
It's the worst because
Yeah.
it's like
It's
the
the
simple
worst.
things in life. These kids these days they don't
They don't
understand,
understand. Right. Go
and
go shoot baskets in the backyard. Oh, that's
they don't
boring.
want to go outside no more.
I did that for years. I would just go out
Yeah,
and shoot hoops by myself.
yeah,
Years.
but they don't want to do that now. And then when they do
Right.
say we're going outside, they might be sitting on the porch in their phones, not even communicating with each other. And these
Uh-huh.
are things that you could do in the house. Like why conjure together as a group, as a collective,
Right.
just to be on your phones?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So
We
it's crazy.
yeah.
So staying with the whole parenting thing, let's talk about a little bit of fatherhood, right? The role of a
Yeah.
father. Um, I before I go to my first question, as far as that, when I say role of a father, what comes to mind?
Someone that is taking responsibility for the relationship of their wife, right? Being a
Mm,
leader in a sense. So you have to, I would hope husband is in there, and certainly not all fathers are husbands, but in my world, that is what it means to me. And, but then we can just digress and just go back to fatherhood. It is someone that is leading their children to learn, grow, experience life on a deeper, more meaningful level that they can
right.
thrive and be successful in, and not just be a phone zombie in their 20s and 30s. And then some point wake up when they're 40 and realize, wow, I've wasted a lot of time, energy, and attention on things that have led me nowhere.
Got you. All right. So the first question under the role of a father category that I wanted to ask you was,
Okay.
um, is a father's primary role to provide financially, or should he be more actively involved in daily care and play?
Daily care and play. You can always make
Mm,
more money, but if you're not engaged on the day to day, you're not going to have that relationship. It reminds me of Cat Stevens, the Cats in the Cradle and the Silver Spoon, little boy, right? That and the Man on the
right.
Moon, that song. And it's this evolution of the kid wanting the father's attention to
Mm,
then the father wanting the kid's attention. But
mm,
in both, I'm getting energy just thinking because I've listened to and like tingles up my spine even. But the attention of when the kid wanted so much attention, and then
mm.
in later in life, the dad wanted so much attention, but the father didn't do a good job of connecting with his
With the
son
child.
in the
Right.
beginning to do whatever other things. And we're all guilty of that. There's
Right.
life is hyper pace now. It's not even fast pace, it's hyper pace going
Right. Right.
on.
Right.
And it's really hard to keep up. And I mean, even for this podcast, Desmond, you need to turn this into 100 different clips so we can have it on every social media all the time and have the captions on it and have it entertaining so that people know, like, and trust and follow you and all this stuff, right? And
Right.
that's why you should be doing this podcast. And so that's the the idea that I would say is that song really encapsulates you're spending your attention on what
Right.
actually matters because you can always
And
make
that,
more money.
right, and that goes back to what I was saying about early childhood development. It's that attention, right?
Yeah.
A lot of parents they they yell at their kids and they might say, "Oh, go over there," because they want a peace of mind, and they're not understanding
Right.
that one, we all were kids at one point, and
Yeah.
two, that kid needs us right now, right? When you get
Yes. Yeah.
older now, you should sit there and say, "All right, let me do the things I want to do," but
Yeah.
early on, that's null and void. That's why I'll go back
Yeah.
to saying choose the right person because you got to
Yeah.
both understand that and you got to
Yep.
give that kid
Yep.
all the time in the world. If that's
Yep.
what they desire, you got to give it to them.
Right.
And I can't speak for nobody else, but it helps me sleep at night knowing that they're happy, right? Like it's been
Yes.
times that I yelled at my kids or disciplined my kids,
Right.
and And
Those
I
are
didn't
things that need to
say
happen.
right, and I didn't say like I apologize, or I didn't give them love before they retired for the night. And
Yeah,
I toss and I turn. So that's one
yeah,
thing
yeah.
I do now. Like if I get mad at
Right.
my kids before they go to sleep, before we all go to
Yeah,
sleep, it's
that's
a household
huge.
rule. We have to come together and make sure
That's
that
group
we
hugs.
understand that we yes, that we love each
My
other.
wife
So
does a good job of, all right, group hugs. Come in now. I don't care. Come on in, and we all huddle up and squeeze.
now do you believe in gender roles?
Uh, yeah, I think they just evolved from,
Right.
let's not play in the 1950s gender roles or something like that. That's
Right.
not, things have evolved. A relationship and home ownership and a life partnership is exactly that. There's gives and takes, and
Right.
everyone should be signing up for as much responsibilities and tasks and things that need done as possible, and going out of their way to do the other person's tasks and responsibilities as well, because then you have a bond,
Right.
and that other person feels safe, they feel loved, they feel connected. But if it's their turn to always do whatever thing they cook, or they just say typical, say in quotations, female roles of taking care of the house, I think
Right.
that's a
Right.
load of BS. And I think you as a man are missing out on
Right.
opportunity to show love, support, and be more connected to them, to then
Right.
further distance you from a separation, whether it's just an hour,
Right.
just a little tiff, or you're sleeping on the couch, or you're actually separating for good.
And like you said about the song, the kid needing the father and the father needing the kid. So that's all it is. When people say happy home, a happy wife, happy home, or however that goes.
Yeah,
I
happy
mean,
wife, happy
it's
life.
there you go. It's truth to that though, because
Yeah, there's some.
the one thing that I've learned in my 39 years of living is when you give that woman all the attention, you make her feel value and like a queen
Yeah,
and on top of the world,
right.
it's gonna come back tenfold. Like
Oh
she gonna
yeah,
give you that plus more. And what
right.
man don't want that, right? So you have to. Same thing with your kids. You got to give them all of that because the
Right,
love that kids give to their parents is unmeasurable, right? Like
right.
it's unbelievable. So a lot of people just got to understand that. So I don't really believe in the whole gender role thing. Like I feel like you said, you should come together and share that responsibility.
Yeah.
Now, I do feel like the men should be the head of the household. And I don't mean that like everybody else said, like, oh, you got to be
Oh
more
yeah.
financially sound and nothing like that. It's just that
It's
you got to
just
be that alpha. A man
right,
was born and created to be an alpha.
right.
So I
Yeah,
feel like that a man should be. But as far as
yeah,
who cleans the house and things like that, nah, that's a bunch of BS. And we
yeah.
don't live in those
Totally.
times where they said that was the norm. And whoever believes that now is crazy. Like a lot of men
Right.
are insecure if their woman or their wife, their girlfriend or whatever makes more money than them. I mean, I don't.
I don't
Because
care.
if we
Shoot, you go out and you go work and make all the money. I'll play a house.
well, not just that, it's like when you come together in a relationship,
Yeah.
you're supposed to come together for the right reasons. So if you
Yes.
make more money than me, why is that bothering me if that money is helping me sustain my way of life? You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like,
Exactly.
okay, I might fall short here, but you're here to pick me up, and vice versa.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's
You have to be a
it's a
partner.
partnership. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
partnership. It's not about oh, it's not a competition. That's what I'm trying to get at here. And a
Yes.
lot of people
Yes.
they sit there and say, "Oh, it's not a competition," but it is. When you make it about money, it's competition,
Oh yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
like you married when you take your
Or
vows, it's secret
even.
poor.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's part of your vows. So
Yeah.
you're supposed to go into a relationship with the right intentions.
Yes.
Right, when just like in marriages, I don't believe in prenups. I don't like if you feel like you have to
Right.
protect your assets, then you're not with the right person.
Right.
Because
Right.
when
The
you get with
assets that you're
somebody,
not taking with you after you're done.
right?
The
Like when you
earthly
get
assets.
being that you're married, this is the thing.
Yes.
When you enter that covenant, right? You you're saying that person is my one, right?
Yes.
My
Yep.
one and forever. That's what your vows are saying.
Right.
So if that's your one, you shouldn't worry about if we break up. you shouldn't worry about if we get a divorce, she's gonna have half of this. She's gonna take, you should. That means you're going into that marriage with the wrong thought process, and that's what I like
Agreed.
to tell a lot of people. So when you go into a marriage, now you talk about prenups. Now you got that doubt in your head, and if
Yeah,
you got
it's a
that doubt
business
that this
relationship.
right, and you go into that marriage with a doubt that it's gonna last, it's not the right one for you.
No, agreed.
So all right, that's what I want to say as far as that. Okay. How do fathers balance their roles as financial providers with the need to set rules and enforce discipline?
Yeah, that's tough. That's what I'm dealing with right now. The
Right.
ever growing changes that are happening when kids are getting into high school, and
Mm,
my oldest just got his driver's license in this last month. Now he feels
right.
as if he has a car that he can just drive away and do whatever, and there's more responsibilities, there's more trust, there's more communication that needs to happen, and it's my job as a father to make sure that he understands those things so that in the future he can be a good person, he can be a
Mm,
good husband, he can be a good employee or employer, he can just be good, which
right.
is important. And so juggling those things, it is very hard because you have 4 kids, right? I
Yeah.
imagine if you're like me, I'm 42. It feels like $100 bills fall out of your pocket all the time.
Yeah, I know. We always go to the store with intentions to get something for ourselves and come out with nothing, but everybody else in the
Uh-huh.
household, they get everything. And you get
Yeah.
home and you look around and say, I ain't got nothing to show for all this money that I got. Like, and it's crazy. It's disheartening at times, but it's the lay of the land though. So
Yep. Yep.
it's frustrating, but for me, just to see the smile on my kids' faces, see their happiness brings
Yeah.
joy to me. So I take
Agreed.
solace in that. So that's it's just I do have my moments where I'm like, dang,
Hey, the human comes
when
out to play, right?
I'm right. I'm like, when is it my time? But yeah,
Right.
so it is difficult to balance, roles as a father, man.
Very
And that goes
much.
back to what I was saying about the whole gender role thing. Like, when I said how you balance your roles as a financial provider versus like the disciplinary, right? Because a lot of times we say we men, and that's our sole goal is to either provide financially or to enforce discipline.
Right.
But and it's hard. It's just like when I was saying about me trying to write a book and me trying to do the podcast and the kids. It's hard to navigate and balance anything in life. So that's one of the things that's hard, and we just got to continue to try to find the balance.
Right.
I don't think it's
Yeah.
not a
It's a
rule book to
constant.
life,
Yeah.
right?
My wife and I will go every most nights. We have a nightly meeting that we can connect on what's happening tomorrow. We do it in the morning to at least stay on the same page of who's going where, when, what, how things are operating. And now we have another driver in the household, and that's just another
Right.
aspect to juggle in our ever evolving lifestyle. And again, it feels hyper paced. It feels, my buddy says, Brian, you live life in plaid, Spaceballs plaid, not light speed, but plaid speed. If you remember that scene in Spaceballs where Dark Helmet
Yeah,
goes flying by the RV with Barf and all.
that's
But
that's a classic movie right there. It's
yes, it
great.
is.
So I tried to put it on for my oldest, and it was like 5 or 10 minutes in. He was like,
Didn't
"Dad, do I
hit.
have to watch this?" I'm like, "Well, you don't have to. When I was
I
growing
watched.
up, I thought it was hilarious. I thought you would
Yeah.
like it." He says, "No, it's old." I was like, "Well,
Oh,
that's crazy."
it goes right to my
But
heart, right?
yeah, I'm like, because I'd be excited about certain things like that. Oh, son, I got something that you're gonna like. And then when you look at me like, yeah, no, this ain't it. Then I'm like, oh dang. Then it made me kind of feel small, for lack of better words. I'm like, dang, I went through all this. I got excited, and then he said, it sucks.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, or my favorite is he like, Dad, you're old. I am not. I'm not an old man. I'm like, I ain't. Okay, I don't
Right,
feel old, and
right,
I definitely don't think I look old. But okay, I'll take my losses.
right, right, right.
um, what specific impacts does father involvement have on a child's emotional, social, and academic development?
So much. Oh my gosh, that's huge. You
Right.
see it. I see it. My kids get good grades. My kids are good kids. Uh, my wife and I have spent an exorbitant amount of time, energy, and money to pour into life experiences for them, from what we'll talk about in the future, the travel, but then even currently the opportunities. Like my
Right.
all my kids are very busy in a lot of different activities, which then places our household on, you know, fast pace plaid speed, because we're trying to create. And it's not that we're overdoing it. We're not pushing anyone to be a scholarship athlete going into college. We're just fostering opportunities around their interests so that they can experience the world a little bit better and
Right.
develop skills or understanding of what they actually want to do when they're in their teens and 20s, and that they can be thriving and not just dropped off at a doorstep out in the middle of the world. Say, hey, here you go, here's the world for it. Because I remember that I didn't feel prepared after I
Right.
graduated college. The phrase that I use is, someone pulled the blinders off me,
Right.
and I just wasn't prepared. And that goes back to, say, my parents splitting.
Right.
Sure, they were teaching. I felt loved. I felt supported. Nothing like that. But I didn't have that bond. I didn't have that connection. I didn't have that support, in a sense, that extra layer support that should be built into a marriage and a family. I didn't have that. And when I got to college or out of college, it was just a shocker. And I could have been prepared earlier. I could have had
Right.
conversations earlier. I could have had better conversations about being financially well, establishing the right types of you know, career path, uh, think relationships, whether with my wife or with friends, how to do things. I grew up, I'm a very handy person because of
Mm.
YouTube, because my wife wants things done. And I want to show her I love and care for her. So I go to YouTube to go figure out how to do this thing that
Right.
she
Right. Right.
wants. The worst, the most interesting, I won't say worst, but the most challenging one that I had internal around was putting these boards into the stairwell, because we pulled carpet up and then there were
Right.
gaps on the
Oh,
side, just small
right. Right.
gaps here and there. But I literally custom fit a 12-foot plus board, cutting out each of the stairs to each of the exact measurements of it.
Mm.
And that one took some mathing and some figuring out. And I ultimately taped a bunch of tape together, or sorry, a bunch of paper together, to create a template for how to fit it into each spot. And then I would take this giant piece in and out of the house 1,000 times to get it custom fit in there, so that
Right.
both sides worked perfectly. And there'd be spots where it was this thin of a 6-inch board. It'd be less than half an inch, because on that particular step
Right.
it went out just a little bit further than the other one that has the 2-inch gap or something. You're like,
So
all
you
right, so this is, I don't want to do this, but I
so,
figured it out.
so you mentioned that being challenging. Were you rewarded after you did the job, or did she
Oh
just say,
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah,
"Okay"?
yeah. She was happy, right? And every time I walk up those stairs and I do pay attention to that spot, like, oh, I did that,
And
right?
it's a feat in itself. So, yeah. So
It was,
sometimes in life it's the little things that every time we walk past it, or every time we see it,
yeah.
we get filled with this joy. Like, okay, I accomplished that. I did that. So
Yes. Yeah,
so that's good. Let's
yeah.
talk about parenting styles and approaches
Okay.
for a minute.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
how have the expectations and behaviors associated with fatherhood evolved over time? And what are the pros and cons to each approach?
I believe so. Let's go back to the 1950s. It was just dad
Mm,
say I do, regardless of whatever that say the child would think, or even say the wife, my
right, right.
partner would think. It was always the man was the final say in the thing, and that's just not. the case. If you have a healthy relationship, there should be an ongoing conversation happening about the disciplinary, about the way that you engage with each other in the household, how you show and represent your household. I'm talking a lot about that with my oldest son. He's in high school, and we'll just say he cusses a little bit more than he did, before he got to high school. And
Right.
I have to keep reminding him, one, you're using the language inappropriately. You might think you're cool, but it's just inappropriate. There's
Right.
no reason for this word to be placed in this sentence at this time. So I want to call you out on that. Okay. Number two, if you're doing it to impress someone, you're impressing the wrong people. Right.
Right.
And number three is that it looks bad on me. Number four, I don't want to hear it. And
Right.
number five, I don't want my other kids to hear it. And number
Right. Right.
six,
Right.
just because you are a 16-year-old playing Fortnite in the basement on your PlayStation 5 and some 5-year-old kills you, doesn't mean that you should erupt in all this pomp and circumstance.
Right. Right.
That's not it, man. This is the wrong reaction to what the situation was. And
Right.
it's causing a disruption in my household. And now I'm peeking over your shoulder where I wasn't even paying attention to because of the actions that you did and the way you did it. So that
Right.
would just be an example of how to say manage that particular situation. And it's an ongoing thing because he's 16 and he just doesn't care
Right.
or something.
Right.
But
Right.
hey, I love this phrase. Your actions, you choose your actions, you don't choose your consequences. If you
Right.
keep
Right.
acting this way, there will be penalties. You won't play for a week because I just don't want to hear it, as an
Right.
example.
And that's definitely a challenge because
Yeah.
oh man, you talk disruption in the household. My 11-year-old, he'll use certain verbiage
Yeah.
or just
You're
some of the
trying it
things that
on,
he lives,
right? Like, I
the
got to try it
content.
on to be cool or something.
He thinks he's cool, and I tell him
Yeah.
all the time, "You're not cool." He's like, "Oh, that's because you're old." I'm like, "Listen,
Right.
don't disrespect.
Yeah.
It doesn't make you cool. Because when you
Right.
go out in the free world in the community and you act a certain way, you do these things. That's how people judge you, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
you want people to treat you nice and kind and all these good things. You have to present yourself
Yeah.
in the right manner. Now, what he do and what he say, the 5-year-old say. Now I'm realizing my 2-year-old starts saying it. Like my 2-year-old, oh my god,
Uh-oh.
he's
We're
only
here.
two. So one of the things I can't stand when he do, like he'll sit there and say, "Shut up." That's his new thing. Shut up. Shut
Oh,
up.
yeah.
Like just yesterday, like, "Daddy, shut up." And he too,
Oh.
and it draws me up a wall, and I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
"Stop."
Come
And then
again.
the overuse of certain words, like every
Right.
2 seconds, bro. I'm like, you didn't even
Oh, you're a
formulate a
bro
full
too,
sentence.
huh?
Don't
Yes,
even
we got
formulate a
bro.
full sentence. Like, son, didn't I tell you to take out trash, bro? Like, bro, for real, bro. I'm like,
Like,
can you
like
actually
and
say a
bro.
yeah?
Oh,
Can you say a sentence, a full sentence? So sometimes I get on their nerves. I'll be like, all right, you know what I need from you? I need 2 sentences before you can do anything else. No TV, no. I need 2 sentences. And
I
they'll be like,
love
are
it.
you serious? Yes, I'm serious. It came out my mouth, so yes, I'm serious. You know, and then the YouTube, I can't stand them using YouTube now. It's
Oh
crazy because
man.
I can't
Yeah,
really take it away from them because I don't want to do that to my 11-year-old. But my 5-year-old is always around them. So if I sit there and restrict
it's so hard.
my 5-year-old's TV, then he'd go in his brother's room. So I can't really
Yeah.
do that. So sometimes what I do is I don't care if my son's 11. I'm like, you know what? If you gotta get with your brothers, read to them or something, or
Right.
you gotta do something educational for like 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
Right.
And then you can reconvene. You can do what you want to do. But right now, that's what I need from you. They hate it, but they do it.
Yeah.
But it's crazy how a man's word goes a long way. My mom or their mom, they'll say something to them, or they'll try to enforce the same thing, and they be like, "Yeah, no, I'm not doing that." And I love it, but I hate it at the same time. The fact that they'll both say, "Don't let me tell you that," or "I'm gonna call you dad," because then they be like this. Okay, 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 I'll do it. So I
That's
love it because,
you got the opposite that I do. I'm the
oh yeah,
boss. I'm the
yeah,
boss. My wife is the boss. So I have to play on her and
oh
go like
no,
tell to get reinforcements. Like, well, Maxwell isn't listening to me. Can you
oh
help me
no,
out here? It's
I
the
could not.
worst.
Nah, that wouldn't work for me. I could not. Nah, like my 5-year-old, like so I can't read him because when he was younger, he was all about me. That was short
Right.
lived.
Yeah, right,
All
right.
about
Yeah,
his
they
mom.
change sides, right? Yeah.
He was all about me, and now he's just completely for mom. We get in an
Yeah.
argument or something. Don't talk to her like that. I'm like, hold up, mind your business. You know what I'm saying? Or he just always about her. I might eat. He be like, did she eat? And then he five. I'm like, where you getting this from? I kid you not. Mom supposed to eat first. I'm like, no, that's not how this works. But
Right.
I say that to say this, like you know, it's crazy how every kid is different. And my other kids, well, no, I'm lying. My daughter's about her mom, but my other two boys, they're all about me. I come
Yeah.
first, always, and I love it. I ain't gonna lie, I love it. Even when she gets a little sad or depressed about it, because she be like, "Oh, this is crazy." They don't never show me the affection they show you. I'm like, and sometimes I poke
Right.
the bear. I just wink at her. I wink at
Right.
her, but yeah.
They're hugging you and you're like, wink.
Um,
uh,
let's see. So, can a gentle parenting approach work effectively for fathers, and how does it differ from uh, how is it different from a compliment, or no, how's it different, or how's it complement other forms? Stumbled over
I
that. My bad.
yeah, no worries. I think in life you should be complimentary, that you should be gentle, that the most effective people
Right.
at getting the things that they actually want are going to do it in a different way that isn't centered around, say, confrontation or ultimates or ultimatums or any of that stuff. They're going to do it in a way that is persuasive, influential, that encourages, and your skill set around being able to create persuasion in your life is going to then dictate how people act around you and treat you, and ultimately get the things that you want to do. And we're all humans, we're all selfish, and we all want things coming our way. It's just the way it is. But
Mm,
my daughter watched um, The Greatest Showman with Hugh Jackman, and there's
mm,
just one scene in there where it was the girl's birthday, and they were in, he was Barnum and Bailey Circus, and in his youth, and they were, say, poor in that stage of the time frame. But he brought this gift and he told this story, and then he created magic out of this spinning metal thing that lit up with a candle. But he
mm.
did it in such a way, I said, wow, this is really good. And he created this environment, and it brought lots of joy to his daughter, that both of them, there's two of them in the movie, that they were excited about this, say, for lack of a better term, measly gift in a
Right.
sense. But he positioned in a way, and he told a story, and he did the stuff, and you can do that. And that's just with every person in life that you encounter, even our relationship. If
Right.
you said before this, there's 100 and some people that had reached out to you, and somehow it's been less than a couple days that I reached out, and then here I am. But I must have done it in a way that was persuasive and that caught your attention. You're like, oh,
Right.
this guy seems like he might be of value to have on my show to
Right.
talk about. And so I was persuasive in a way to create influence, and ultimately to create value for you as being the podcast host, and the listener being someone that, I hope that this is good. Chef Dennis is enjoying our conversation if he's still on.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, so when you brought that up, I was like, let me go back to the message and see what you said. So the one thing that stood out was you said that you feel like you can bring a good time to the listeners and bring value. So when you said that, I said, oh, okay, he's one, even done this multiple times. And as I read, I've seen that you've been on like 60
Right.
podcasts before. Um, and then I was like, okay, this person wants to bring value to the show. So I was like, all right, so this guy sounds like he really want to do it. So I was like, he has to be one of the focal points, especially going into a new season
Yeah.
3. I was like, I need people like that first, right?
Yeah.
And then
Thank you.
people that's interested but may not show as much enthusiasm. I had to sprinkle them in there, but the people that's
Right.
really engaged and really want to do it, I had to sit, put them first. So that's
Yeah,
good. So
real
yeah,
quick, in my observation, to get your attention, in a sense, you made the post. I
right,
understand the effort and the time and energy it takes to put this whole thing on, and the cost, right? StreamYard
right,
isn't necessarily free if you want a good experience
right,
with
right,
it. And then you then have to filter through all that stuff, and I put in specific language. I shared who I was. I
right,
called your attention. I didn't just reply with "I'm interested," and
right,
I
right,
waited for you to do something. Then I put up my one pager that looks professional and detailed, and then I sent it to
right,
you, and I direct messaged you and said, "Hey, I
right,
saw
right,
this. I'm just following up on it here." And then this happened quick, and then you asked for this or that, and I gave it to you, and we found a time, and here we are. And even ideally, even before we started recording, you would have found me valuable with just the type of person I am or the life that
right,
I've lived. You're like, oh, this is should be an interesting conversation
right,
that's
right,
different than a lot of other fathers of four, right? And most people don't just travel all 50 states with their kids. But then even say some of the things about, hey, how do I what was it? Get filter through all these people. And how
right,
hopefully that was a good, valuable offer that would literally cost you 3 minutes of your
right,
time, and
right,
not 3 hours trying to write down different questions or something because you're just doing it manually. Let's leverage, say, AI in this situation to create something that is an administrative task that you
right,
can then offload off your plate to then go do the harder thing, you do the thing, and then you can filter through those people and have those 3 or 4 specific questions baked into that form that automatically shuffles the deck for you, so it's stacked in your favor. And when you see the Google form response comes up, you're not paying attention to the Facebook replies. You're paying attention to the Google forms that come in, and you look
right.
at those key questions, and then you can then filter quickly. Okay, these 5 people are the first people I'm going through out of the 100 that reached out on my Facebook message.
Got you. And you mentioned AI. That's something I want to toy with a
Yeah,
little bit more because
sure. You should
I
be.
seen I seen like an advertisement or something I seen where you can take your entire podcast or you could just use the
Right.
shorts, but you can make an AI version where it's animated. So
Yeah.
I want to do that because if I could do that with my shorts and have it animated and I put that out on all social media like Facebook, Instagram,
Right.
I think because it's a cartoon, right?
Yeah.
It's my voice, but it's a cartoon.
Right.
I think that would um attract more traction for me. It'll
Yeah.
get more people in the audience,
You
things of that nature. Because I know
just my
to me it look
input
cool.
on that real quick would be is who is your audience, and who do you want to attract? Is
All
your
right,
audience going to be attracted toward an animated version of Desmond or the real life thing?
right,
Is the audience going to be attracted to you spending a few more minutes working on your background? I'd love to know what the wrestling belts are for, because they caught my eye when I was looking through some of your other shows that you had on your Facebook
yeah,
wall. And creating, so like I have a depth and a gym. I'm in
right,
my barn gym. This is a different experience than a lot of people have because they're doing it with a bookshelf behind them or something. And I've
right,
thought about it a lot of like how this is. And when it gets cold outside, I can't come out here because it literally is 30 degrees and I'm in a winter jacket. I'm freezing standing here. So I couldn't do this long of a show. I have to do it inside, but then I'm strategically trying to stage the backlight. And I have this giant uh paint splatter mural that our family did. I put that in the background, and I have it balanced out with things in the back so that it gives a little more inviting family room experience or something. There
I
you go.
got you. It's
So
a
you got to
lot of
figure
things.
out which way you want to go, and you can
Yeah,
test it. You got to test it ultimately.
yeah. That's true. Well, I just like I said, certain things that catches my attention. I'm like, you know
Yeah.
what? Oh, I wonder if I can incorporate that into because I liked it. So if I like it, I know a million other people like it. So
Oh yeah,
that's where
yeah,
I'm at. I'm always
yeah.
trying to be creative and come up with a lot of ideas.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, so going back to the parenting thing, um, is one gender inherently better at parenting, or are the skills and qualities interchangeable, like from mother to father?
Skills. It's always going to come to skills.
Mm.
Experience and skills are going to be a thing that shine through.
So
Always.
you don't think that it's different or better being a father or a mother?
Well, in our society, we have different roles. There's different types of nurturing and different types of just parenting or person roles that we either exhibit or end up assuming. I am a
Mm.
father. I have to assume that role and whatever I think it is, or whatever my father had given those experiences to me, whatever I see on TV, whatever I read in books, whatever I listen to in podcasts or something. I'm filtering through all these things of how do I be the best father that I can for my kids. And that's the role that I end up playing and assuming. But also, I have to have an ongoing conversation with my wife to make sure I'm blending with her parenting skills, because if I'm coming in and it causes friction. I could walk in the house and I see that they didn't do the chore or whatever, and then I start opening my mouth like, why didn't you do this? Like, that's the wrong approach, man. That is not the Hugh Jackman tell a story and get the kid to go do the dishes type thing. They don't want to do the dishes for hours now because they came in and just said, why aren't the dishes done? And I keep relearning that lesson. At some point, maybe it'll sink in, and I won't walk in the house after I hadn't been there and just start uh, dictating or calling out what they should be doing. I should just come in and say, "Hi, how was your
Right,
day?" And then in
right,
10 minutes, like, "Hey, if you want to do that thing tonight, you probably should do the dishes as well."
right,
So
right,
I have to. That is something that I'm having because I like. In I'm a bit more oomph. I'm more direct. You do
right,
this thing and then you get this thing. That's how this works. And if
right,
you
right, right,
always do this thing, we don't have to talk about the you getting the thing. It's just automatic. But if you don't do the
right,
thing, now we have friction. And now I don't want to talk about you spending Levi, my oldest. I timed him once. We spent 8 minutes arguing about him putting laundry away. He did it in less than a minute and a half. I said, dude,
right.
I said, bro, this is before bro entered our house, but bro, why are you wasting so much time? Just put your laundry away and we never have to talk about this again. We can move
Right.
on with life. Uh,
So why do you think it's different from mothers? Like, say if a mother try to enforce things the same way the father does, or try to be the disciplinarian, or they try to be like an alpha in the household. Why do you think that their responses are different from the kids as opposed
I,
to the fathers?
it's just, I think it's a relationship of the parent and the kid individually, because
Mm.
each kid is going to respond differently to the parent and their actions. If I keep coming in with walking in the house and saying, "Why didn't you do this thing?" my 16-year-old will just tune me out. It's like, "I'm not
Right.
even listening to you anymore. You can just stop." He literally will say that. "I'm not even listening." Just like, "Stop lecturing me. All I hear
Oh
is
no.
rah, rah, rah." And then it gets me all worked up and stuff. It's just like,
Right.
dude, put your clothes away.
Right.
Or,
Right.
hey, we're driving home before he drove. This is the environment in the house. I'm
Right.
giving you a layup here. When you walk in the house, you're gonna do XYZ, and you'll get the best outcome that you want. And he doesn't do that. Instead of the layup, he throws the ball into the bottom of the rim and it bounces off his forehead. I'm like, bro, why did you do that? I told you
Right.
to
Right.
do
Right.
this thing, not that thing, and now everything's a train wreck. What'd you do? Oh,
It's one of the craziest things,
yeah.
that they don't take heed to what we say, and then when they get older and they get out in the real world and they start working and stuff,
Oh
and it'd be the
man.
most simplest thing, and they be like, "Oh my God, my life is over," or they'd be like, "This is so hard," and we look at them like, "Is that what you think is hard?" Because
Yeah.
I can give you a whole laundry list of things I do or had to endure in life that will be classified as
Yeah.
hard. So
Yep.
it's
Yep.
crazy, but they are kids, and we love them, man.
Yep. Real quick
Um,
on that, I hope, and you probably would too, but when your kids are, say, in their mid 20s and they start to experience life, that, wow, my dad actually had wisdom and he spoke it into me. And that,
yeah,
man, cannot, especially being a health coach and a life coach, I literally guide people every day trying to get them to make the best decisions for themselves. So consequently, that I'm say my own Tony Robbins, a mini Tony Robbins in a sense, right? Just not on a blown up scale like he's done. And but I hope that when he say 25, he just looks me in the eye and says, "Thanks, Dad." And then I'll just
Yeah.
know what he's talking about. It's like, yeah, I taught you, I spoke into you, I was there for you, I showed love, care, and tried to set you up for as much success as I could. I hope
Right.
that
Now it's
happens.
so it's crazy because my father said the same thing when I was growing up, and I didn't like we talk about our kids now. I didn't want to listen to him. I'm like, come on, man. Everybody got these lectures. Everybody want to try to instill something or some message. And I don't want to hear it.
Yep.
But now in my adult years, I find myself saying, okay, I understand why my father said certain things. I understand why
Yep.
he acted and did these things. And now I do that. I try to instill those things into my kids. But I take a
Yep.
little different approach because I never forget where I come from or my thought process. So when I see signs of my kids feeling like I was when I was growing up, like, oh, I don't want to hear this, I might tickle them or do something that is going
Oh
to
yeah.
annoy them,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
and still try to drive home that message.
Right.
So I get a different approach, and
Yeah.
I'm hoping that some of it absorbs. And like you said,
Yep.
I'm waiting for the day my kids get older and they say, "Thank you, Dad." You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I might even cry.
Yeah, you're right. Like, oh, he's
Uh,
acknowledged my 25 years worth of effort.
right, right. All right. So let's talk about marriage for a little bit,
Yeah.
because I do want to talk about the world travels a little bit. So,
Yeah.
um, is marriage still necessary in the modern age?
I would hope so. Uh,
So
I
you
don't, I
think?
don't, I just
I mean, I
with,
know you're married, but
yeah, 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 with just, I guess my upbringing, with the society, with how it's, say, just even being faith-based, it's a man and woman and monogamy and a relationship and one and done in a sense. And so those are, but going off of just like marriage, I guess you could live a solo life, but
right,
just as you said earlier on, is just make sure you choose wisely to have a life partner, not just a lust partner in a sense, or
right,
a financial partner, or someone to take care of me partner, or whatever that, because we're all looking for someone to fulfill on roles that we need in our life, and then we find someone to do that, but we just make sure that there's more to that relationship, because that's going to pass, that season of whatever is going to pass, and you have the rest of your life that you have to figure out how to connect with that person.
got you. Um, should couples prioritize marriage before having children?
Yeah, ideally, because four kids in, you and your wife have to be a unit, because you are outgunned, outmanned.
So you think before kids you should be married first?
Yeah, I think so. To make sure that there is that ongoing relationship for the kids to grow and be
Mm,
nurtured. And if you make a good decision about your life partner, that is going to then bestow upon them, hopefully, that they will ultimately make a good life decision and have a good upbringing and all, and just be a good person. Because if they
right,
don't have that experience, then they're on rocky terrain from the get-go, and that instability can create all sorts of different behavior issues and challenges for that person. To They just don't mature until they're 60 or something, and they've just
right.
been doing whatever for 10, 20, 40 years in their life, whether it's good or bad or indifferent.
Okay. So how crucial is effective communication for relationship success?
Huge. Yeah,
Mm,
and if you're not good at communicating, it's a skill set. You can
yeah,
learn to communicate better, and you
right.
can learn to listen better. If you listen better, then the other person's literally telling you all the time what they want. And if you can hear what it is and discern that, and then give that in some form manner, saying the five love languages or whatever, then you will then receive more of what you want, which is just love and affection and connection on some level, because that's why we're together doing it.
Right. Okay. I'm glad you said the five love languages because it's only five love languages. But a lot of people they put everything in that category. I hear people ask me, what is your love language? And I might tell them. And then they were like, oh, my love language is smiling. I'm like, that's not a love language. But I don't know where it got misconstrued, but a lot of people they'll just throw anything to the wind and say that's their love
Right.
language. I don't understand what you're saying, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna let you live because I hear it so often. And I don't
Right.
think people really
Wow, it's
understand what
interesting.
love languages are.
Right.
But
And I think, say that could be a subcategory. Smiling could be referring to creating happiness and joy. That could be a level of affection, but that would
right,
be the key love language that they would fall under. That they
right.
wouldn't. Smiling is just an act of what you
Just
do.
it's yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So I mean, I've heard a
it's a
lot. Like,
physical thing.
yeah, like
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
weird.
like I told a woman my love language physical touch. Like, well, actually, I said all five of my it's equal for me. I can't pinpoint one. I think for me they're
I mean, if you
equal.
took the test, like you're checking,
Yeah,
you probably would distill down to one or two more predominant ones. But
right.
yeah,
So this is scary thing is a lot of women like if you say physical touch is your love language, automatically they say, "Oh, you one of those." I'm like, What do you mean? Oh, you a guy? You a man? You're the typical man that only think about sex." I'm like, that physical touch doesn't necessarily mean sex. You like that affection. You like
yeah,
hugs. You like that
connection,
warmth.
yeah,
You like that connection.
hugs,
Yeah.
yeah,
But
snuggling,
nowadays, yeah,
closeness, yeah,
yeah,
holding
women
hands.
automatically think you talk about sex, and I'm like, this is crazy. I can't even. We're having the freedom of speech. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Um. So okay. The last question I'm gonna ask as far as this, then we'll talk about the
yeah,
traveling thing. This is a good one that I ask a lot of people. Um, is it healthy for couples to have separate friendships and interests?
yeah. You're your own individual person. You have to have
Right.
outlets to be able to express those things. Example: I love fitness. My wife isn't as into fitness. My
Right.
wife loves travel. I love travel, but not to the extent that she does. She would
Yeah.
just literally be a nomad the rest of her life. I
Right. Right. Right.
enjoy travel, but I would probably get bored of it and want to find some form of stability. I love
Right.
entrepreneurship and business and doing sales and marketing and all that stuff. And I guess honestly, I'm a salesman. And we're all salesmen. We're all selling ourselves, our services, or whatever. But
Mm,
that's what the only thing I've known to create the outcomes that I have. I have to
right.
positively influence you through a number of different ways for you to say, hey, I think Brian can help me lose 20 pounds to and be
Right.
better through it spoken, written, social, whatever, all those things. I like that stuff. She's like, don't be a used car salesman or don't coach me. Like,
Right. Right.
just so yeah, everyone's gonna have their things that they want, and they should be able to express those in their own relationships outside of the marriage, because that's fine. That's just part
Right.
of having balance and having healthy relationships.
Now, one of the reasons why I asked you that question is because I've been in relationships or been around people, couples, and it's mainly the women that feel this way, but there are also men where the woman feels like, oh, you can't have a friendship outside of us. Like, if it's not a mutual friend or a joint friend, it's not allowed. And I hear that a lot, and I think that's crazy. Like,
Yeah,
so it could be a male, your husband, right? Um, with a male friend and the woman gets jealous because you always spend time with him. Why can't we all get together? Why can't you call his wife or his girlfriend and we all do something? And
right.
for me, I think that's problematic because sometimes we just need time to
Time
ourselves and just
away. Yeah,
enjoy ourselves outside of that marriage, outside of the
right.
household. But a lot of
Yeah.
women don't see it that way.
Yeah, there's three guys that I spend a lot of time with, and we exercise. That's
Mm,
an easy way to express ourselves and then that relationship, and it'd be productive for us. And then also have better conversations because we're spending time together. And
right,
that time allows relationships, and you can talk about all these things that you should be okay with talking about with your partner or spouse and stuff, but you don't need to bring this, that, and the other at them when they're dealing with their own 18 things, or 4 kids that
Right.
walk by you and going, mom, 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 when you could have done whatever it was. And then your wife's like, oh my gosh, you could have done this, but they didn't ask you. They came straight to me to do this thing. And I am overwhelmed and I got all these other things. Like, you just don't,
Right.
you just need outlets and time to experience other.
Individuality.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, totally.
Okay. Now, you told me that you've visited all 50 states as well
Yep.
as a few countries, and you did this all
Yeah.
with the family, right?
Yes.
How did you manage to do all this? How did you manage to go to all 50 states? Like, what was the time frame? Like, how do you, you know what I'm saying? How do
That
you
was
find
in
that time?
9 years. It's been about, I've been in this house for about 9 to 10 years. My daughter, actually, we had her first birthday in here and she's 10. So we
Right.
celebrated inside this area, this barn. And that was the first year that we were here. So in the last 9 years, we've done all that through connection, through
Right.
conversation, through unity of this is how we're going to spend our time and money, as we're
Right.
going to go do experiences, not buy things. I could have a really nice car
Yeah.
if I wanted. We could not be living here and have a really nice house if we wanted, but we took that money and we used it to create experiences, and then also say, this partnership thing. My wife really likes to travel. I don't mind it. Sure, I'd love to go to all those places. Okay,
Hmm.
let's go. So I am in agreement with her on where we spend our money and how we do that, and that is helpful, right? Now,
Right.
I've spent a lot of money on travel. So a lot of
Right.
the one time I was standing at the beach club in Disney, and blue skies and a couple white puffy clouds, and I'm there in the water and my kids are sliding around, and I just look up and wow, I'm gonna give this place a lot of my money. Because I
Yeah.
knew where it was. And if we didn't do all that stuff, we just went one, say one trip every year, and maybe smaller things here and there, but not to the extravagance that we have, then I'd probably be very financially secure. I probably could care less if I work today or not. I would have, I've done well with how I've done business in the last 10 years. But because of that, we have money in the bank, but not not as much as I've produced,
Right.
in a sense, because we spent it in those areas. And so
So,
that's what,
how much time did you spend in these states? Was it like,
a
did you spend
night,
a week
at
or
least a night. Yeah,
at
yeah.
least a night? Oh,
The
okay, so
goal, yeah, the
that makes
goal is
things a little
that
differently.
you had to spend the night in the state for it to count.
Got it.
Okay. So we've spent one night in 49 states except Idaho. Idaho got away from us. We were in Idaho. My feet were in Idaho. So I have been to all 50 states, but by
Right.
our family rules, we're -1 out in Idaho. And at some point, we'll check it off. But we were at Yellowstone, and we did the Grand Tetons as well on a 13 or 14-day RV trip from Cleveland, Ohio, out up through the Dakotas to Badlands to Custard to Waljug to Wyoming to the Yellowstone, Tetons, Jackson Hole, back through Yellowstone. And that's when we got into Idaho. And then we went up to Montana, and then that went to North Dakota, to Minnesota, Mall of America, to Chicago, back, and made our way back to Cleveland area.
Interesting. Now, so I was wondering how you was able to do it because
Yeah. I wish I
one
was
of the
that
things.
financially secure to just spend a week in all those. That'd be amazing.
So that's the thing. One of the things that made me say, okay, I'm gonna get this guy on the shows
Yeah.
because as a family, we said we was gonna do 2 trips a year
Yeah.
to 2 different states,
Yeah.
and that was 3 years ago. Now we went to Rhode Island, we went to Connecticut, where we spend
Yeah.
a week. Right, that's
Yeah.
the thing. It's
Right.
5 to 7 days. That we have to spend there. So it's not like, oh,
Right.
spend a night. Like we actually get to hit a
Right.
bunch of different places. So
Yes.
I think the most effective way to do that is to spend like a week. So
If you
we
want to
did
get
Rhode
to know
Island,
the area, in a sense, or
right,
have a deeper experience in that specific area, sure.
right.
But just
So
make sure that you're not just doing the touristy thing either. You'd want to
Right.
go a couple layers deeper into the actual community in a sense to get to know and
Now,
understand it better.
now, yes, now that's important as well. So I always come up with my own little itinerary.
Yeah.
Like I look at things like
Yeah.
Google
Good.
or YouTube,
Right.
what's to do, places to go, and then I
Right.
look and I'm like, all right, like wherever the hotel's gonna be, wherever we can hit that's close by. What I would say, and close by to me is within like an hour or something like that,
Yeah.
maybe an
Sure.
hour and a half.
Totally. Yeah.
Those
Especially
are
if you're
places we
already there. Yeah.
right. Those are places we hit up. So it's funny that was 3 years ago, and then 2 years ago we didn't do anything, and then this year we didn't do anything. So 1,000% next
You
year
better do something.
started again. Now I'm 1,000% set on Tennessee, so I will be going to Tennessee next year, 2026. The other state I'm not sure about. It might be Ohio,
Yeah.
maybe.
Okay.
It might be Texas. I don't know
Yeah.
because this year it was supposed to be in Texas and it was supposed to be in Tennessee.
Right.
So it might be that next year, but I don't know. All I know is I'm 1,000% going to Tennessee. I already
Yeah.
got everything mapped out where I want to go,
Yeah.
so I'm looking forward to that.
Our
Um,
very
uh,
first trip was Cleveland down to San Antonio and back. It
well,
was 10 days. And we stopped off in all the major cities,
Ohio, then to
all the way to
ten.
Texas and back
Okay,
up. So we drove through,
wow.
so we went through Kentucky, Tennessee. I
Hmm.
hope my geography is right. We went through
Kentucky and Tennessee as
Arkansas.
well.
We went to Texas. We went just down through there and we stopped off at all the major cities. The reason was Levi, my oldest, wanted to see bats under the Austin Bridge in downtown Austin. There's a million and a
Mm,
half bats or something. They literally swarm out every night for an hour, like
right,
packed, traffic jam like masses of bats flying out, and people go see it. And he read it in a book. He was really into facts books, Ripley's Believe It or Not, or the Guinness World Book of Record. I mean, this kid, we bought him so many of those books, and no, but he saw that and he wanted to go do it. So my wife created an experience that we stopped off in all these major cities: Nashville, Memphis.
mm,
We went to Texarkana. We're literally jumping back and forth between Texas and Arkansas. We went to Little Rock. We were in Austin. We were in Fort Worth, in San Antonio, and in St. Louis. And we did something fun in each of those spaces. And we spent a night in multiple of those states to check them
got it.
up. And we have this old map that she found at this garage sale or estate
Right.
sale for 250. It's framed and it looks like it was from the 60s or something. It's all weathered
Yeah.
and crunchy and all this. And we've been putting dots. We have a gold dot for every first night city that we
Right.
stayed, and then we have a
Mm,
black dot for every subsequent night that we've stayed in places. And I so
I
wish
like that.
I would have done it is that we would have put pin needles, just normal pins, in spots of interest that we stopped off on, because this thing would look like a pincushion
Right.
if we did that
I
with all these
I like
experiences and different
I
things that
like that
we've done.
idea.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like
it's
that
great.
idea. That's just yeah. Now I did see, Etsy, right? Etsy got a
Yeah,
lot of creative things. Like I seen this one thing, and I was considered doing it, but I don't have the space on none of the walls in the house.
yeah,
But they had this map of the United States,
yeah.
and what is for each shape, it's like you get a picture and you get the
Yes,
picture and you put it in there. I
right.
think that's
That would be
phenomenal. I think
fun.
that's
Yep,
that's a great idea. It's just
yep,
again, I don't have the space for it.
yeah.
I know you have something to do, so let me ask you this. Um, if I was to ask you to give me five, your top five states that I personally should visit, where would they
Ooh.
be,
Ooh,
and
ooh,
in
ooh,
what order,
ooh.
if possible?
All right, this is good. This is because there's 50 of them.
Yeah.
I'm going with Hawaii. That's how they
All
pronounce
right.
it. Hawaii. We did Omaha, North Shore, swam with sea turtles the twice. That and the last night we were there and had this amazing, beautiful sunset, and we were just swimming with sea turtles as a family. This was about 5, 6 years ago. I'd do that one. It was just magical.
So you said Omaha, Nebraska?
No, no, Oahu, Hawaii.
Oh, 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 Hawaii. Okay.
Yeah, that'd be
All right.
number
So that's
one.
one.
Then I would go we've been to Florida 100 times. I don't even know. So many times. We had season passes to Universal Studio during COVID. We
Right.
would fly down, do Universal Studios with way shortened lines, and we'd literally just walk on things, and then we'd leave after 3 days or 4 days. It was amazing. But yeah,
So
we
Florida's
love
at number
Florida.
two.
Yeah, Florida's number 2, just because
Oh,
it offers so much for a family. East
got
Coast,
it.
West Coast, North, South, Middle. There's
Yeah.
crazy amounts of things to do for a family. Third, I'm gonna go with Colorado, Denver, the
Mm,
mountains, the areas. We stayed in the Rocky Mountain National Park at the YMCA there. We were ice skating in the Rockies. We were sled riding in the Rockies, and then we went and drove to Moab on that trip. So we flew into Denver, hung out there for 2 days, then drove through the mountain pass to Moab, stayed there for about 3 or 4 days, did the Arches. That's where the Arches was actually where my third son Maxwell were walking back from the license plate arch that of Utah, and they said Maxwell said, after we're done with the 50 states, we're about 35, 40-ish at this point. After we're done with the 50 states, we should do all 7 continents. And I look back at him. I said, what? That's crazy. And
right.
I said, and then in that moment, it sunk in. I could put my feet on Antarctica. This
Mm,
is it just opened this door to a possibility that I never would have thought or imagined. And I would go Denver just because of the mountains, and I actually ran up Pikes Peak in my youth back when I was say 20-ish. I ran the marathon
right.
there, but a beautiful country. So it's three. We're gonna go with number 4 is gonna be the Pacific Northwest. We're just gonna chunk Washington, Oregon together. That
Okay, Washington, Oregon. All right.
yeah, that the Pacific Northwest is just such a unique, beautiful, bountiful place with greenery and outdoors and just beauty. And my wife is drawn toward Oregon as hey, if we ever move, we should go to Oregon just because of the majestic landscape and everything. The last
Got
one
it.
would be is I'm gonna go with California. Just or no, I'm gonna go with actually NYC, New York City,
New York City.
as a
Ah,
destination. It's just I've been there all throughout my life at various points. My wife Amber, she lived there for a summer. What else happened? Uh, we've gone there multiple times with our kids and experiences in the city. It's a magical place that has a crazy amount to offer
gotcha.
for
Yeah, obviously I've been in New York so many times, being
oh yeah.
in New Jersey.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
so before we conclude, anything
Yeah.
you want to say to the viewers and the listeners before we close out?
Yeah. Well, I hope that they got a lot out of this. We talked a lot about parenthood, about fatherhood, about relationships, around just living a life that is giving to others will ultimately
Mm,
give more back to you. I think that might be a good undertone for what we were talking about this whole time.
right.
Right.
Now, websites, anything, you want to
Yeah.
put,
Who am I? Follow me at Coach Brian Parana. You're gonna see me. I am found on thecalltorise.com. You can see it in my little tag name on my label there. Thecalltorise.com. It's a 100-day fat loss challenge to help men in their 40s and 50s lose 20 plus pounds in 100 days. Do it through
mm,
science-backed nutrition, fitness, but ultimately they're gonna level up on multiple different levels. And hopefully our conversation has brought a level of heat and intensity and value, in a sense of when people work with me, I'm asking them to show up their best selves. And yeah, we're going to lose weight, we're going to look better, feel better, but it's so much more than that, so that they can go, if I drop a pebble in their pond, it ripples out to those people around them, so I can have a really positive influence with that person, and then their family is enriched because they get the best version that they can of that person.
all right. All right. Well, that's going to conclude today's episode. We hope everybody enjoyed
Yeah,
it, got something from it.
definitely.
Just what's today? Today's Thursday. I
Yep.
should have another podcast episode tomorrow. Um, I'm still working on the time. I'm trying to see if I can get a little earlier because the time was supposed to be 8 o'clock. So, and I definitely got one on Saturday as well. So make
Nice.
sure you guys hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever new content is available. Continue to like, share, comment, and if you haven't already, subscribe. And Brian, you're more than welcome to come on again as a
Oh
guest.
yeah, we can
It
talk
was an
about
honor.
actual health and fitness. My specialty. We didn't even talk about any of that.
Yeah, we can definitely do that next time. Because I can use it. I mean, I don't see it, but I got surgery coming up, and
Yeah,
they love to throw around the word obese. They try to tell me I was obese and overweight, and I'm like,
I
no,
don't
I don't
see
know who
it.
come up with these definitions. I'm 6'1", 232 pounds.
Okay.
I don't see it.
Yeah,
But that's what they told me I should be 170, 175. I'm
yeah.
like, ew.
Well, that's the 1950s BMI. I'm 6 foot
Yeah.
190, and I'm still would be considered overweight or very close to it in the BMI, the height to weight ratio. But at 6'1", if you lost 15 pounds, you'd probably feel better.
So this is the thing. All right. So before we close out, so
Yeah,
is it the body fat, or like what if it's
yeah,
muscle
body
and
fat.
you weigh that?
Yeah, you want the
Okay.
body
So
fat percentage. That's the most important metric is body fat.
so
So
maybe
if you
that's where
were
they're coming
six
from.
one, 230, and you were 10 or 15%, you're looking like The Rock in a sense. Like you're
Yeah.
muscled. You look like a football player that's been working out in the gym. You're
And then
thick. You're solid.
and then these doctors and hospitals, they'd be okay with that. Is what you're saying.
Yeah, because it's muscle mass.
Got you. Okay, so maybe that's where it come from because I definitely got the dad bod these days. Like I don't have the
Yeah,
6 pack I had years ago. So maybe that's what they mean. I had the little beer belly. So
yeah,
maybe that's what they're looking at. But and it's
probably.
crazy. Every year I say, I'm going to tone it up and tone it up, but it's just hard finding the
It
time.
is juggling time.
So
Yeah, that's
so
it.
on our next episode, maybe I get some pointers, some
Yeah.
tips from you as far as that because
Yep.
I need it. So all right.
Thank you
So
much.
enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll stay in touch.
All right.
All right.